Hello and welcome to this very special interview on Money Paathshaala. Joining me today is one of the veterans of the health insurance industry. And before I introduce him, I want to say something. I believe, and with every passing year, this has become a clear conviction, especially during what we saw during COVID, that before you buy any financial product, the first product that you need to look at very, very carefully and early on in your life is a health insurance product. A lot has changed since COVID. A lot of awareness has come among people. And to understand where we are today, joining me is Mayank Bathwal, who, as I said, has been a veteran. He's built Aditya Birla health insurance from scratch pretty much. He's the CEO there. Thank you very much, Mayank. It's always been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you for inviting me, Vivek. Thank you, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
And I'm so happy that you've taken time out to reach out to viewers of Money Paathshaala, both across, tier two, tier three, and the metros. You've always explained, concepts with a lot of simplicity. So here's my first question to you. When we last spoke, it was in the thick of COVID. So, Mayank, when we last spoke, I remember it was in the thick of COVID. And at that time, the only thing on your mind was that, with lockdown, with physical movement restricted, how do I make sure that the rising claims that were happening are fulfilled? And I think both you and the industry did a remarkable job in making sure that there was no disruption. And of course, you tried different things with technology. Today, my first question is that suddenly, I saw my own, payment of my health insurance renewal, and many other people have been writing on social media that there's been a big jump, almost between 12 and 18%, depending on your age, uh, in the premiums. And this is largely because COVID has thrown up a whole lot of claims, etc. Reinsurance rates, I'm told, have gone up. So I just wanted to understand from you what is the scenario right now for health insurance before we go into why you need it? But why is it even more imperative to get it first? Because health costs are rising, and therefore health insurance premiums will have to play catch up. So if you could explain that a bit.
Yeah, thank you, Vivek. Thank you for inviting me to Money Paathshaala. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, as I said earlier. Yes, I remember last time we spoke. It was in some very uh, difficult but interesting time. That hopefully once in lifetime kind of opportunity or incidents. Health insurance, because as I said last also, that is in the thick of things, because this epidemic was pandemic was a part it was a health pandemic, and therefore because we are part of the extended healthcare ecosystem, we inherently have to face the impact of what's happening in the healthcare ecosystem. I think post COVID, a few things have happened. One is that during COVID, people realized that why health insurance is important, and I think I completely endorse what you started with. That this, having been in financial services industry for uh, 25 years plus now, and having looked at various products, I agree with you that it should be the first product that any consumer should look at, irrespective of the moment they get into I would say earning kind of part of their career. uh, and so pandemic kind of COVID clearly made people realize you must have your own health insurance. No one likes to pay from their pocket if God forbid if an event happens. So we are seeing that heightened awareness. It doesn't necessarily mean that COVID now having gone away for some time, that and what we are seeing is only, I would say, more like a something that will endemic and we'll have to live with it. It doesn't mean necessarily people are converting that in awareness into intent into action, but at least people now understand why health insurance more than ever before. Uh, but I think a few other things have also happened. We are seeing in when I look at claims today and the pattern of claims, we are seeing some element of increase in claims level because of long COVID impact. And what does it really mean? How long will they stay? What form will they take is for experts to kind of continue to look at that research and come back. But as a health insurance company, I'm seeing in my claims, categories of claims which were not there, let's say pre-COVID, or at least intensity of claims which were not there pre-COVID. So I think there is definitely an element of a slight shift in the claims pattern. Now, some of that is also because people may have decided to postpone their treatments during COVID, which was potentially something that they felt they could defer. So some of that is also coming back now. But I think some of them, even in case of heart conditions, respiratory problems, even by the way, cancer related conditions, which are much more escalated in terms of just the incident level, because claims actually is a combination of the number of claims and the ticket size of claim. That is what
Oh,
constitutes. So the number of claims and the disease pattern, you see more of some of these which we did not observe pre-COVID. So which means that you know uh, unless time will prove that this is only a temporary, there is a slight shift in claims pattern. And we must therefore take note of this, and as consumers recognize this, and therefore one more reason why you should have health insurance, and maybe slightly larger sum assured than what used to be a norm pre-COVID. And everyone in the family versus what used to be earlier, that sometimes, hey, let's take for adult, younger members don't need, etc., etc. I think the third element is that because there are newer categories or newer categories of claims, or at least increased incidence of certain claim types or disease pattern types. I think what has happened is that the base at which, let's say, our products are priced have to now change, because now some of these are permanent, as it seems. We are seeing this consistently from last 18 months. We thought that things will start coming back to pre-COVID level. No, it's not happening. Also, the healthcare system has increased their rates. So what we see today, is actually much higher claim size or billing than what used to be pre-COVID. Now, so
oh,
when you look at the combination of this, Vivek, uh, of course, we will love to keep our premiums at the level that they were earlier, and it's not unusual that every 2 or 3 years products will be priced. All products, by the way, become expensive with inflation and all. You buy any consumer product, they would
oh,
not be the same price that you were buying 3 years back, because inflation does get added to any product pricing. And it's the same phenomenon in health insurance, that what used to be the price 3 years back will not be, because the cost of medical treatment has gone up. Doctors will charge more, a diagnostic will charge more, a pharmacy will charge more. So all of that is what is reflected, because we charge what the consumer pays in the healthcare infrastructure. So I
oh.
think some price increase is here to stay. We are hoping that some of the other trends that we are observing are only temporary, so therefore we don't have to look at further increases. But these are some realities, Vivek, that we're observing, and I think it's something that we also are trying to understand from the healthcare ecosystem to jointly understand this better. But the challenge of claims has not gone away completely.
And Mayank, as I mentioned in my introduction, what I was told, and you could, corroborate that, is that the hikes have not been that significant for those who are probably younger, vis-a-vis those, say, who are 45 plus. Is that correct? And therefore, and where I'm coming from is that therefore there is even a greater case to probably buy your health insurance at an earlier age. And just to touch upon the important point you made about healthcare costs, while we look at inflation as one overall CPI number, But within that, we've been saying for a while that things like education, things like health, the inflation is far more than that number, single digit number. So if you could touch a little upon that to reiterate to people why it makes sense to get in and buy your health insurance early. And you can keep increasing your cover over the years as and when your income rises, but at least start early.
Yeah, I think firstly, thanks for asking this, Vivek, because I think it's a very fundamental issue that we all need to understand, and especially the youngsters need to understand. Let's look at what is insurance finally. How did insurance originate? And if you allow me, I'll just like to touch that for a minute or two. The whole concept of insurance started when, let's say, in a community, let's say in a village, people got together and say, if someone is facing a health event, they're having to pay, and it's becoming very difficult for them. So why don't we pool money and put together a fund aside for, let's say, the healthcare cost of the entire village or the entire community, and whoever needs it will get it. But
Mm,
it means that it is available for everyone. Now, in that community, no one said that, hey, I'm young, so I'll pay less, or hey, I'm rich, I'll pay, more, or they all pool together money. Maybe some adjustments may have been made for a few things, but generally they all put aside some money and said, whoever needs it will get. Now, what does it mean that, you know, everyone pool together some money? And that is what insurance is all about. That people who may not end up using the benefit are actually subsidizing the people who end up using the benefit, because people who may not need the benefit today may need the benefit tomorrow.
yeah.
So when they need the benefit tomorrow, they will be subsidized by the people who have not used the benefit at that point of time.
Mm,
And I think this is the concept of insurance. So, as youngsters, we have to understand that today, if I'm buying and I may not get the benefit, I'm actually subsidizing for my seniors today, because when I become a senior, the youth of that day will subsidize me.
right.
And I think that's a fundamental concept of insurance. So if we only see, hey, I've paid this, I must get that money back, then insurance cannot be priced for individual risk. Insurance is always priced for pool risk. I collect together the pool, a set of people, and I price for collective. That's the ideal form of insurance. And I think therefore it becomes very evident, very, it's an imperative that in a country where more than 65% of the population is less than 35 years of age, we get more and more of these youngsters to buy insurance so that our senior citizens also can get more affordable. But because
Mm,
otherwise maybe the government will have to step in and subsidize, or the healthcare facility will have to subsidize, someone will have to subsidize, whether it's the youth or the government or the healthcare facility, because
mm,
they on standalone, if I price for my father's risk today alone, stand alone, then his premium will be more, more than what, probably he will think that my health, his hospitalization expense will be. It
mm,
is that's how it works, because some people will get, some people will not get, and you pull. So I think we this is I really urge the listeners to your podcast and the Money Paathshaala, that please, this is very important for yourself. From a, I'm not saying that, I'm asking anyone to do charity, but this is actually what is required as a concept of insurance, right? Now, to your point about, whether prices have increased more for some of the seniors, yes, it has, because the incidence of what I was telling, that claims, etc., it has increased slightly more for a certain age group and above than the younger age, and therefore, if we don't get enough youngsters, then automatically the prices of the people who are buying, and today bulk of the people who are buying insurance in India are 35, 40, and above, and therefore typically,
mm,
the prices keep going up. Whereas if I get more and more youngsters, automatically the overall price will come down.
mm,
It's like no brainer. So again, I'll say that, please get in early. You'll not only reduce your own premium, you'll reduce the entire
mm.
population's premium, and which you will enjoy the benefit of when you become a senior.
One final question, Mayank. You were the first, perhaps, and I remember when we started talking many, many years ago, you introduced wellness benefits. And you said that while on the one hand, my job is to pay for people who need hospitalization, on the other hand, as a company, I want people to be healthy so that they don't need to go there that way. How has that worked out for you? Because you do offer discounts, benefits if you clear certain milestones on the wellness side. And the second point I want to talk about, which is, the regulator, and we've seen some amount of dynamism coming in from the regulator in the recent past. Things like mental health, for example, which, people of our generation, our parents' generation, never really talked about or never really acknowledged. What is the progress on that front? I mean, the regulator has said mental health must be covered, but mental health is typically not necessarily in the early stages hospitalization. It's probably consultancy. So, on these 2 points, if you could give some sense on how your journey has been in the last 2, 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, again, a very, very relevant points, Vivek. I mean, I actually one of the other changes that has happened post COVID is there's another, I would say, tsunami in the industry, but for in a positive sense, which is the new idea chairman. And I think
Hmm.
the breath of freshness that he's brought in terms of his whole effort to kind of make insurance available to everyone is so much admirable and inspirational that I think that itself will open up the industry and create insurance for more and more Indians, which is required, as you very rightly said earlier. Coming to your two specific questions, I think on the wellness side, we are very, very excited with what we are seeing today, Vivek. We are seeing, consumers utilize those benefits. And I'll give you a real story of one of our customer, right? I mean, this is not one story, but this is a representative story.
Hmm.
So there's a, I travel a lot, and I met a customer in Indore, and she's a lady. I will not give her, name for because I don't have the permission to name that our customer here. She was a lady. I think she must be in her late 50s when I met her. She was there with her husband, and I said, and we have one of its own kind in the world where we reward the customer with the entire premium back if you demonstrate good health behavior, which means that
Hmm.
you know your health at our cost. You are in good health condition, then you're physically active, and at some stage we'll bring other elements also. So that lady actually had, along with her husband, earned the entire premium back, which meant that when next year they'll only pay GST, assuming the premium is same and has not increased.
Hmm.
So zero premium, only GST, which which of course has to be paid. And I asked her that, what was your experience of this insurance policy? The first thing was, I was first amazed that a health insurance company is offering me something for my good health.
Hmm.
And so first, I thank you for the fact that you made my insurance free because of something that I did for myself. Because the consumer was doing something for themselves, right? She said, I was thin, but I was not healthy. And she was a thin lady, very, elegant, very lady. And she said, I was thin, but I was not healthy. Because of you, because I walk 10,000 steps every day, today I feel healthy also. And she said that, so this is a second benefit. First one being the money back. And third, she said that because I have to walk 10,000 steps a day, every evening, and my husband also walks, the two of us walk together. And when
Hmm.
we walk together, we get to spend time with each other, which was not happening every time earlier. So we have built a much better relationship with each other. So the 10,000 steps walking a day is giving the money back, is making the person healthier, but most importantly, building better relationships. That is what good health does. And that is what we feel, proud of having achieved. So there are lakhs of such stories today, Vivek, and we feel that this is the way to do health insurance. We feel very happy when even a regulator endorses that and say that's the way to do. In fact, recently, I will urge you and your readers on and your viewers to watch a campaign that we did in January, which is by the name Kya Piche Choda Hai by Aditya Health Insurance, where for the first time, at least to my understanding, having been in the category for many, many years now, a financial services brand has gone to the masses to show what they are doing through the actual experiences of their own customers. So all
mm,
the protagonists in that campaign are actually our real consumers across the country. We have
mm,
put four of them in the main ad, and then there are digital, and they talk about their story of how following the whole because of the product promoting good health, how they have gained in their life in different ways. So I think we are very proud of that, and I hope everyone else does that. The other part was mental health, very very important. In fact, during COVID we tested something called a free mental health line. We saw consumers come to it, and more than what we thought. We have the only product in the industry where we offer mental counseling also, because as you very rightly said, mental health is not about hospitalization.
mm,
Mental health is about stress. Mental health is about depression sometimes, which can become clinical depression, which can be very very dangerous if you don't seek expert help at the right time. We provide that in our product. Again, something that is still a taboo in India. We are working with Empower, which is run by Mrs. Nirja Birla, to promote this whole thing of seek help when you need, because this can then result into many more physical health conditions later on if not
mm.
dealt with at the right time. And the lifestyle that we live in today has creates a lot of such mental problems. So yes, we are not just doing it for the sake of what the Mental Health Care Act says, which is provide mental health for hospitalization. We're doing it what we feel is even more important, which is provide the counseling support when the consumer needs it. And I only hope I have, and I only my request is to people to utilize those benefits in whichever form they're available, because don't run away. It's not that someone will harm you. It's not a taboo to go and seek help. Nothing wrong in seeking help. You live a much better life, healthier life, happier life.
It's always wonderful talking to you, Mayank. I wish you all the very best, as I always do. And there's a lot of big challenges ahead. We need to take stories of the kind that you mentioned to people across India. And I'm sure that together we'll be able to do that. Thank you very much, Mayank. And I wish you and your team all the very best. And look forward to speaking to you soon and not after 2 years.
Thank you, Vivek. My pleasure always, and it's always wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you.